Hi, Aquarius and Aquarius Rising. Here is your horoscope for March 2025. I'm Astrologer Joseph Anthony. All right, we have a monumental month ahead, and I mean that because the astrology is off the charts this month. If you followed my 2025 video at the beginning of the year, I talked about how March was going to be very strong energy going into April. And here we are in March of 2025. So what's going on? Well, it's eclipse season again, and we have two very powerful eclipses coming in. One is going to be in your 8th house of transformation, shared resources, death and rebirth. And then the other one is going to be in Aries, the 3rd house of communication and short-term travel and self-expression. So these are going to be very big and very important. But that's not even the big news. The big news is that the whole month of March, Venus is going to go retrograde. As you can see here, it's already started in stationary position. And then by mid-month, Mercury goes retrograde. And yet there's still one more activity astrologically that's very important. We have Neptune finally leaving Pisces and returning to Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, and it hasn't done this in like 160 plus years. So it's the first time Aries is going to be in this, Neptune's going to be in the sign of Aries in this 3rd house of communication, and I'll tell you all about that. So you could see that we have a very intense month filled with a lot of energy. Some of it's confusing. Some of it's going to take us into the past. Some of us is going to motivate us, as the planets go into Aries by mid-month. So we've got a very tricky month to tread lightly. Don't make any major life-changing decisions. I would wait until the middle of April. And let's see, how it unfolds. So this reading's for anyone who has a rising sign in Aquarius or a sun sign in Aquarius. And this is a very general overview of a sun sign reading using the Western tropical zodiac. And so this is basically not meant to be, 100% because your birth chart and your birthday is going to be completely different. I'm just giving you the highlights and the possibilities here. Okay, so as we start off the month, notice all of these planets, including the North Node, which is what you're striving for, all in the sign of Pisces in the 2nd house. So what is the 2nd house? It's about income. It's about values. It's about investments. It's the physical side of life, your possessions, what you hold value, great value to. And it's in Neptune. The Neptune energy here, which is Pisces, is one and the same. Neptune rules Pisces. And so there can be confusion here with overly sensitive, wanting to change your job, not sure about investments. You're thinking about all the possibilities of what you own and what you don't want anymore. So there's going to be a lot of that on the table this month. And it might have already started, when it was Aquarius season. Now we're in Pisces season because the sun is now in Pisces. And so the sun is going to continue to move down here, conjuncting Saturn and Mercury, and then the North Node, and of course, Neptune. And this will all happen over the next 3 weeks or so. So this is going to be a very important month for this house and this energy here. But like I said, Venus starts off the month in retrograde. Now, retrograde just means going back, going within, reviewing, revising, revisiting things pertaining to financial investments, money matters, jobs, partnerships of all kinds from the past. You may be thinking about them. They may resurface online, on social media. You may go back to old neighborhoods and think about that. And so it's a very nostalgic time when we have Venus retrograde in Aries, which represents the self. And it's going to be here in the 3rd house of communication. So don't be surprised this entire month going into April, all kinds of people from the past resurface and you start connecting with them and getting updates and, trying to figure out where they are, where they're going. Now, the other thing this Venus retrograde could suggest is short-term travel. The 3rd house represents short-term travel. So you might find yourself visiting places you've been before. And so that is a possibility here. Now, I would not suggest making any large, important purchases at this time with Venus retrograde. Every astrologer knows it's not the greatest time to buy a car. It's not a great time to buy any large purchases when Venus is retrograde. It just means that you're asking for trouble. It doesn't mean it's really bad. It just means that something may not work out the way you want it to. So keep that in mind when Venus is retrograde, and then later on Mercury will be retrograde. And speaking of Mercury, Mercury enters Aries on the 3rd. There it is. And this is like putting fuel on the fire, because Mercury in Aries is very quick-witted, very sharp, and wants to talk. It wants to express itself, and it's impulsive. And so here for the next, I would say, 10 days or so, 11 days, it's going in direct motion, and you're feeling supercharged. You're feeling like, you need to express yourself through writing or video or whatever you do, or getting in the car and, just taking a drive. And this is all part of Mercury in Aries. So, but here's the first of the eclipses this month. This is going to happen on the 13th into the 14th. And so this is a lunar eclipse, a total lunar eclipse, at 23 degrees of Virgo, right here opposing the sun. Now notice all these planets are very closely aligned to the sun, which means it's going to be very strong. And it's in Virgo, the sign of health and well-being and psychological well-being. And a total lunar eclipse is basically a complete ending, end cycle, a realization. Something about the past needs to be resolved, or you need to move away from it. It's in the 8th house of shared resources. It's in the 8th house of sexuality. It's in the 8th house of death and rebirth. It's in the 8th house of finance and debt and credit cards and taxes that falls under this umbrella. So it could be any of those things that gets activated here. Okay, and so this Virgo energy is very strong in the 8th house, and it's a deep psychological side of it too. And so there's an emotional attachment to this lunar eclipse. So there could be a significant event that happens around this time that has you very emotional or psychologically, uncertain about what's going on, especially with Venus retrograde. And right around this eclipse, unfortunately, Mercury is going to go retrograde. So you see what I'm talking about, where the psychological component of uncertainty is absolutely in the mix with this eclipse and Mercury going retrograde at the same time. Mercury slows down around the 13th and 14th, and then by the 15th it stops and then starts going backwards. And it's not that it's going backwards, it's the Earth is moving forward and it appears to be behind the Earth. So here we have a very tricky alignment now. Mercury is retrograde along with Venus retrograde, two of them. So what I'm suggesting here is our minds are going to be completely about the past and connecting to the past and conversations from the past. It is not the greatest time to be making decisions like buying new items like electronics, buying, like I said, large ticket items, or making any very important decisions. Okay, that's how it works. Even though the lunar eclipse is going to bring in endings and completions, this is still not a favorable time for making major life-changing decisions. Okay? So the energy is going to be really weird this month. It'll be a push and pull throughout the entire month. The sun enters Aries, adding more fuel into the fire. Okay? Now we have the sun, which is the light of the world, entering the 3rd house of ideas and communication. So you're absolutely, wanting to break free from something. And it's possibly your thinking or a current situation, or you have to have a very important talk with family members and friends or neighbors, or you just want to express yourself to somebody that will listen to what's going on in your world. And so this is going to be very important, okay? And now we have the sun going through the first sign of the zodiac for the next 31 days or so, and it's going to ignite a lot of passion in you and others around you because of this. And so this is going to be a time where you have to really have patience and realize what's going on. Now, on the 27th and 28th, Venus backtracks into Pisces again, and right away it conjuncts Neptune at 29 degrees. And so once again, something from the past resurfaces, either having to do with money, a relationship, a partnership, an enemy, something of value, a possession of some kind, comes back into the picture. And so this is, again, a review process. Think of retrograde as review, revise, revisit. And there is that going on. We also have the second eclipse that's going to occur, this time in Aries, again in the 3rd house of communication. So you could see here the energy is very strong in these two houses. Communication about what you want, what you value, ideas, things related to vehicles, cars, movement, self-expression. This is all going to be highlighted with this solar eclipse. Now, eclipses can take up to a year to manifest. So it's like a doorway is opening. And so solar eclipses are opportunities. So you have an opportunity to change your thinking, change the way you express yourself, change the way others see you, you see. And since it's Aries, it's possible you might think about changing cars or doing something with a vehicle of some kind. It could be an SUV, it could be a motorhome, it could be a boat, whatever. It depends on your actual birth chart. But this is, again, suggesting that you have to change your thinking and go in a new direction. And that's going to absolutely be the theme here for the next 6 months or so. Mercury backtracks into Pisces as well. Now we have a three-way conjunction in reverse, reversal order here with the retrogrades. Venus and Mercury now both retrograde, and Neptune is there. Now Neptune has the ability to dissolve, to make things unreal, like illusions, fantasies, and so on. So maybe you're having an important conversation with an ex-lover or somebody from the past, or talking about financial matters, and they're dissolving right before your eyes. Like, this is never going to work out. I don't know, what was I thinking? There's a lot of confusion here, friends. So this is why I said don't make any major life-changing decisions or large purchases. And speaking of Neptune, Neptune finally leaves Pisces for at least a little while, because it will retrograde by the end of this year in the fall. It'll retrograde back into Pisces for the last time, and then in 2026 it'll re-enter Aries and stay there for a long time. So here we see Neptune entering the third house. And now this is where you're basically saying, I need to reinvent myself. I need to change. I need to go in a new direction. I'm tired of doing what I'm doing. I need to do this, and that. And now your mind is really on overload. So not only was the eclipse powerful and igniting passion and desires and thoughts and ideas, now we have Neptune there. And again, I would suggest be patient. Try to be patient. Venus and Mercury are still in retrograde. They won't come out of retrograde until, I think one is the 7th and the other one's the 12th. So I would wait until the middle of the month to make any major life-changing decisions. Okay? So there's the overview for the month. If you want to know more, I have an extended version of this horoscope in my Inner Circle community. There's a link down below. And as you can see here from this slide, I also do weekly astrology. I teach astrology in there. We do remote viewing, and every Sunday we get on the Zoom calls, and members could ask me questions about their chart. They send me their chart ahead of time, and I look it over, and they ask me a question or two about their charts, and I get to answer it for them. And we talk about everything from conspiracy research to what's going on politically, and a whole lot more. So consider joining. There's a free 7-day trial. I left the link down below. Anyway, do the best you can, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye for now.